I'm Gary Null, and I'd like to welcome you to another Classroom on the Air. Today, something I'm sure many of you have been concerned about, the extremes to which those individuals who have used their celebrity status, and that's not everyone by any means, but those who do seem to have a great deal of excitement and pleasure in trying to be offensive. I call this celebrity privilege and the cult of modern decadency. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean that, again, I'm Gary Null. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of our Classroom on the Air. Today, the topic is celebrity privilege and the cult of modern decadency. You've all seen it. I usually try to avoid watching television award ceremonies and their regalia of visual spectacles, sanctifying celebrities in the film and music industries, and now across all industries. It's like everybody wants to walk a red carpet and be a superstar, even kind of the staid individuals on Wall Street. But once you make hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion, you suddenly feel, I'm privileged. How will anyone know that I've made $1 billion if I can't spend it in ways that show that I'm different, I'm special, I'm unique, I'm better, I'm smarter? And indeed, that's what we see. People have yachts that are so large, they're as large as many of the cruise ships. Why would an individual who doesn't even like to sail be on a ship? Well, because it shows that I have the money to spend. And if I have the money to spend and someone else has got a 400-foot yacht, well, I've got to have a 450-foot or 500-foot yacht. Do you really enjoy this? I don't enjoy the boat. I don't enjoy all the problems that come with it. But I do enjoy the fact that for a moment, a split second, a blink in time, someone will know that I have the biggest boat, or I have the biggest plane, or I have the biggest house or houses around the world. My neighborhood is special. We're all special. Well, I don't think so. I think that you need help. I think that you're showing that for all the things you possess, you need to possess something that you can't buy. You see, we know the price of everything and the value of nothing. What is the value of humility? What is the cost or the price of egotism and narcissism? And it doesn't make you a better person. If you sit on all these boards, if you have people running to you saying, will you do a special for us? Will you do an endorsement? But I'm a football player. Well, we want you to endorse our alcoholic beverage. We'll make it seem like you're special because you drink our alcoholic beverage. What do I care, you think? You should, because there was a time when we grew up and our celebrities, the Willie Mays, the Hank Aarons, the Joe DiMaggios, the Mickey Mantles, these people were just good people. They were talented in what they did. After the game, they didn't need a celebration. They didn't need to do a special dance in the end zone to acknowledge what they had just achieved. Instead, they went back to Brooklyn, to Queens, wherever they lived, and they went back into their homes, and they were just then good neighbors. Famous, yes, but good neighbors. They didn't need to walk any red carpets. They were humble, and we appreciated them. Today, not so much. Today's award ceremonies are clearly representative of the decay of the American consumer culture. And over the years, award ceremonies, the visuals have become more inane and, in my opinion, grotesque. Therefore, when award-winning journalist Celia Farber recently wrote that a singer at the Grammy Awards looked like a, quote, satanic ritual, it was so decadent. I spoke to her, I called and I said, I don't believe this had anything to do with satanic rituals. I believe this just did exhibitionism a special favor. It showed how lacking in talent many people are, but we will take people who have mediocre talent and make them famous because we can build around them a spectacle of success. So even when they're not that good, people go to see them because they were told, go and see them. They're that good. And they're not. How many times have we lined up in a long line to get into a restaurant that had poor tasting food and terrible service and extremely expensive, but it was the place to be seen, the place to go? Where right next door was an inexpensive restaurant that gave you great service and delicious food, but it wasn't famous. Think of how we've watched all these shows on the internet, watched all these shows on television that are not funny. They have to have that canned laughter so we'll remember, oh, I should laugh. How many late night comedians are not funny? We don't see Don Rickles today. We don't see Jonathan Withers. We don't see many of the very truly talented people who could make us laugh at ourselves. Today, they'd be banned. Too insensitive. I was capable of spending enough time to watch one clip, and that was all. And I just thought to myself, shaking my head, I see neither talent nor of interest. I see boredom. I see people who are just seemingly trying to show that they can offend, and they have a right to because they're at the awards. Indeed, the hell-themed performance should have been deeply offensive to most Americans, certainly for those Americans who come from backgrounds where if you were funny, they appreciated your humor. If you were extremely talented, then they appreciated that as well. But they didn't appreciate you being grotesque or just being an exhibitionist. That's not funny, and that's not talent. And that's what we see constantly today. How many movies have you seen and walked out of where at the end say, why in the world someone make a movie? It was just stupid. There was no plausibility. It was poorly written, poorly acted. Well, because someone needed money, and someone was willing to spend money, and someone was willing to promote it, that you would watch it. No, this goes against all sensibilities. The only reason for watching award ceremonies is to be better educated about hypocrisy. Last year's Academy Awards had the highlight of Will Smith jumping on stage to slap Chris Rock, a physical assault. Why? Why would you smack someone in front of a worldwide audience? Because you wanted to humiliate him. You wanted to show in that moment at a primal level, a reptilian level, that you were the ultimate alpha because you had offended his wife. But hold on, didn't he laugh first? Didn't Will Smith laugh? Yes. Then he looked at his wife, who was not laughing, and then he said, okay, I'm in a group of people here now, my group, my clique, and they'll accept what I'm about to do. And indeed they did. Because just a little bit later in the Academy Awards, the entire group gave him a standing ovation after receiving Oscar for Best Actor. Yet there was no audience boos for this earlier non-acting performance to humiliate Rock. There was no policing or effort to escort Smith out of the theater for unprovoked physical assault. Similarly, celebrity narcissism was exhibited at the 2009 MTV Awards when Kanye West jumped on the stage to disrupt Taylor Swift's acceptance speech for the Best Female Video Award. Again, there were only crickets in the theater audience. No boos, no notable reaction. West would go on to become a multi-billionaire, and in the eyes of his fans and corporate partners, he had no limits. There was no such thing as inappropriate behavior as long as you're making money and others are making it with you. It would seem there are no limits to some creative and artistic personalities' freedom to act out as they please, and comatose fans that fail to recognize they are simply human beings with all the same foibles, limitations, and dark side as themselves. They may have some unique talent, but more than the talent in any of the people you see is the promotion. And therefore, we're looking up and up and up and higher, higher, look higher, look higher. And so we're told that these people are up there with the angels when it comes to their talents. But then the music stops and we look down and we see, wow, I was following everyone's eyes looking up, thinking you were up there, and you're not. You're just a regular human being. There's not a whole lot of difference between us except your area code and what you can buy to create a standard of living I can't afford, wouldn't even want. Yeah, remember, everyone walking the red carpet sits on a toilet in the morning, just like you. They're far more like you than what they want you to feel. They don't want you being able to be near them. Why do you think they all move to exclusive places and pay outrageous amounts of money and dress differently and eat in fancy restaurants? because they know that separates them. There's a differentiation. We're different. Yes. In what ways? What you can afford? They don't have a quality of life. They have a standard of living. You, on the other hand, look for a quality of life in the simple things. What we're witnessing in the larger community is a behavioral cancer metastasizing through society. It now permeates sports, Wall Street, the business community, and our body politic. Its mantra is that owning more is always better. Whatever a person achieves is never enough. Achieve more. There's no such thing as an end in this search. Keep searching. Keep relevant. You die twice. You die when you physically die, and you die when you're no longer relevant, when the phone doesn't ring, when the agents don't call, when you're just a memory. Those who reach the apex of personal achievement rarely use the freedom of their success to bestow to them an opportunity to continue their own personal development. Where they're deficient in life, become proficient, become more grounded, compassionate, humane, humble as a human being. True, authentic humility is rarely found in highly successful people. Instead, living an extreme lifestyle of competing to be at the center of the spotlight is the accepted norm. Admittedly, there are few who are not similarly affected. There are notable exceptions to the celebrity class who use their success to help others, and we commend them. But this is not newsworthy for the paparazzi, those who are extremists, those who seem to be train wrecks, even if successful. That gets the attention. If it bleeds, it leads. That's the way the media works. Yet there is nothing particularly new except for the fashion of the day in this cyclic trend. It was perverse in West Weimar Germany, when Berlin was the capital of European decadence. Celebrity exceptionalism has been part of Hollywood's DNA since the beginning. The entertainment world, which thrives on the creation of illusions and often deranged hallucinations, perceives themselves as exceptional. We're not like you, and you're not like us. Why not? If I cut myself, I bleed. If you cut yourself, you bleed. We fail. Why do you need to pretend you're something you're not? The psychology of hedonic impulses and addictions are based upon how we engage with pleasure in our lives. Hey, for most of us, we're at one end of the spectrum. We enjoy the simple pleasures of being satisfied with our lives, a nice meal, a roof over our heads, friends and family. Some hedonic pleasures can be awe-inspiring, like experiencing the vibrant sunset, appreciating its momentary beauty, which overwhelms our senses. Walking with a loved one hand in hand, what a hedonic, pleasurable experience. Playing with our puppies and our dogs and cats and birds, again, pleasurable experiences. But the all-pervading hedonic pleasures of postmodern America are the need to prove our relevance in the eyes of others, even after we have achieved a high degree of success. Competition among the rich and famous is more intense than the average societal addicted person who devotes an extraordinary amount of wasted time to increasing their likes and emojis on TikTok and Facebook. On the other hand, for the high achievers, it's a crass Darwinian struggle for the preservation of fame as to whether a person will walk the red carpet or appear on the cover of Vogue and other imbecilic places. In the perverted Darwinian scheme of superficial plastic Western culture, once a person is possessed with the illusion they're uniquely different, gifted and talented beyond all measure, the simple pleasures in life no longer count because they no longer affect a person. They no longer find joy, happiness, and simplicity. They need cameras. They need adulation. They need people coveting them, emulating them. Rather, personal indulgence, often at the expense of others' well-being, is a permissive goal to pursue. Decadent hedonic pleasures, boorish sexual appetites, drugs, and the objectification of people as props to be exploited as part of the inner sanctum in every profession's culture of the so-called deep elite. These smaller communities within the larger professions are the basilica built with the bricks of greed and egotic. These smaller communities within the larger professions are the basilicas built with the bricks of greed and ego, ignorance, and other aspects of the human being upon which the Will Smiths, the Kanye Wests of society believe they have earned the divinity of acting as they please. They view their behavior as wholly acceptable by the clique of the deep elite. Will Smith would never attend a Carnegie Hall performance and rush up to the stage and smack a ballerina or lead violinist. That wouldn't happen. He would be in his zone to do that. But if he's in someone else's zone, if society's zone, he would not act out and never has. He'd be outside of Hollywood's inner sanctum where his admirers would turn a blind eye. And think of Mr. West, his sense of being exalted to freely attack the Jews led to his losing $2 billion in commercial endorsements and business deals. Has he apologized? Has he learned a lesson? Despite stepping out of his comfort zone, he remained unapologetic. We witnessed this indecent behavior staged at the Grammys, following the ecstatic cheers of support by the audience who hold membership in Hollywood's inner sanctum. It was not simply decadent, it was repulsive and demeaning. It was Bill Maher who commented that the reason why a collective does not care for the preservation of the environment efforts to reduce our carbon footprint is because anyone who could fly private would, if they could afford it. His conclusion is that we are fundamentally not good people, and therefore nothing fundamental will change. I disagree. I believe we are fundamentally very good people, but we choose not to indulge in excesses. They do not enhance our well-being or sense of self. We are okay with who we are, even if those who have to walk the red carpet are not. For this reason, I don't watch award shows, whether it's the Oscars, Emmys, Golden Globes, or Grammys. They don't represent the ideals of our civilization or the original values it was owned upon. I'm Gary Null. Thank you for watching our Classroom on the Air. Good day.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.